Kiva, go. Hi Chris, loving the informal chats with other exes on the Sensibly Speaking podcast. I have a couple questions about two bits of terminology Jeffrey Augustine quotes in one of his posts. The church sees Sea Org members as coins that can be traded among orgs and then kicked to the curb when they weaken from age or infirmity. The Sea Org euphemism for this cruelty is called fitness boarding. Old and sick Sea Org members are fitness boarded, given $500 and then shown the door. My question is, did you ever use the term coins or see others doing so when talking to management about moving Sea Org members around the West US or even internationally? If so, can that term help as proof of human trafficking in court? Also, how many members approximately did you see get fitness boarded out of the Sea Org while you were in? The use of the term coins comes from a lecture, an executive lecture that Hubbard gave in, I think, 1971 on the Apollo, where he was talking about trading personnel from one organization to another and considering that the way, it was an analogy that Hubbard was making where he said you have personnel, and as an executive your job is to utilize those personnel, and sort of imagined the org board or the organizing structure as a piano that you're playing. And you have, X number of resources, employees, people, volunteers, people that you have under you to utilize to play that piano and make it play a tune, right? And the coins, the idea of coins as an analogy was the idea of trading. So you might have Joe in Division 4, and he's been a staff member for 10 years, has a lot of training under his belt, maybe he's clear, and he's, qualifications, and he's worth, 3 of these new guys that they just got in the public divisions who are relatively new Scientologists and staff members, and they are not so experienced and they're not so trained, and so you would imagine that that coinage wise, this guy Joe, or whatever I said his name was, he's worth 3, he's worth 3 of these coins over here in a trade. Okay, and that's the analogy that's made, and that's not a human trafficking thing, that's just personnel talk, in terms of an analogy that Hubbard was making. I didn't particularly see anything inherently destructive or sinister in referring to people as coinage when you are assigning an arbitrary value to them from a personnel, or I guess you would say a human resources perspective, right? And I know, I don't get me wrong, I don't think people are coins, and I don't think they can be reduced down to such a simplistic measure of their worth as people, but having dealt with personnel, for a number of years when I was in the Sea Org, and on staff, that is certainly true that some staff members are more valuable than other staff members, and you can use this analogy as a way to talk about moving them around without being all weird and sinister about it. Now, as far as the fitness boarding goes, that is a formal process of reviewing somebody's qualifications for the Sea Org. This is only done in the Sea Org, and it's done specifically to see if something has come up that has shown them to now be not qualified for the Sea Org, where maybe earlier in the past they were, or maybe they slipped through the cracks when they shouldn't have, and they were never qualified to be in the Sea Org in the first place. So every single person who leaves the Sea Org in a standard authorized fashion is given a fitness board, whether they're old or infirm or not, right? Everybody. I got a fitness board. Because if you want to leave, you're clearly not fit to be there, right? You're not qualified because you kind of have to want to be there in order to work in the Sea Org. So, I've seen hundreds of fitness boards, maybe thousands. I didn't sit on them. I did a couple of them myself, but I didn't sit on thousands of them or something. Generally, it's the personnel people who deal with the fitness boards, and that's how that works.